Well, hello everybody. RV living with the geezer. Up a little closer this time. I've got my tripod extended and set down on the floor instead of way over there in that way over there in a 8-foot wide camper, right? But yeah, I'm going to start my little series on minimalism, and I had a nice. There's old Luna. I had a nice 12-minute video done earlier, a driving video. Had everything going real well, and I got back and watched it, and it's I wouldn't show it to my worst group of enemies. Terrible. It was lurchy, and I don't know what it is with my driving videos. I'm gonna have to figure that out. So we'll just talk about it from here in the comfort of the Casa de Geezer. Yeah, I'm watching Texas State and North Texas in a bowl game right now. But yeah, and that video, I didn't even get near through. I'm going to start out with the history of what got me into this minimalistic lifestyle. That video was, like I say, 12 minutes long, and I was just getting started on the history of it. So this will be in a couple of different parts. I need to look up here at the clock and see. I want to keep this under 10 minutes. Anything over 10 minutes is just you just lose people, especially on this story probably. But yeah, back in what got me going back in 2007, due to an unforeseen circumstance, I'll just call it. We had our house down in Leon Springs, and we had just remodeled it. We moved back into it from Sisterdale in 2004, and we had just extensively remodeled it, and we had to sell it in 2007. And I was there, and I thought I was going to stay there for a while till it sold, and it sold right away. And the people got a really good deal on it. And so I didn't have any place to go. So I ran up on IH10, and a friend of mine and a real good friend of Big Jim's, Alex, oh heck, I don't remember his last name now. But he was general manager at Ron Hoover RV. And I bought I had a fifth wheel. We had old fifth wheel. I should have kept it. I traded it in on a Flagstaff, like a 32-foot Flagstaff. I mean, I went in there that day. The salesman showed me that trailer, and I bought it. I didn't research it or anything. It was a piece of crap, guys. And Jim let me move it out to, they had already built a new home up in Comfort. And so he let me move it out to his old property where his office was, between Bernie and Comfort there at Nelson City. And he had, I had electric hookup and water. And I just ran the sewer hose way down, put it right in the top of the septic tank. And I lived there about 6 months, and that trailer, it was brand new, and it was a piece of junk. Everything was going wrong on it, and when you're living in them full time, it's hard to haul them to the dealer. So I just went ahead and rented a little cabin in Comfort, and I got to get moving on with this story. It's drag out way too long. Anyway, for the next several years, I rented houses in Comfort and Kerrville. And then Linda and I got back together, and we bought a house out in, I went to Colorado in the meantime, lived a year or two. We bought a house out in Alpine, and it was a fixer-upper, and we sold it in 2015. She moved back to Austin, and so I didn't have a place to live then, again. So I moved. Jim's and Shirley had a house out in Alpine. They were so kind to me through the years. It's unbelievable how much those two people did. I'll be ever forever grateful to them. I lived in their house in Alpine for several months and just kept the place up out there for them. They didn't live there. They lived in comfort. Jim would come out there and stay on, he did a lot of business in West Texas with his computer company. So, and I had a pop-up camper. I bought a pop-up camper at that time. And in first part of 2016, I found a place to rent in Fort Davis, and I moved up there and rented that house for a year. And then Linda and I got back together again, and we wanted to be up here closer to the kids, so we moved up to Granbury for a year, leased a house, and then we leased another piece of junk house up here closer to Boyd. And then she left, and that's when I really started my minimalistic lifestyle. I had a Starcraft camper that I bought while I was out in Alpine, and it was like about this size, about 22 feet. And I hooked it up right where this trailer sits right now. And I lived in it for, 13 or 14 months at Starcraft. And that's when I started my YouTube channel. And I haven't mounted my license plate yet. My buddy Dennis sent me that RV Living with the Geezer license plate, established 2019, which I love. I'm going to put it right up here. And yeah, I lived in that Starcraft, and it was fine. It was just it didn't have a separate bedroom. It just had bed, and I really probably would have had it paid off by now. But, things happened. So, actually, I gave it to my son. They used it for a while. And I bought a casita I thought I was going to live in. But for me and Blanca, it was just too small. So I moved down to Ingram and lived there a year, Johnson Creek RV Park. And I had the casita, and so then it was just too small, and I bought this one and lived at Johnson Creek RV Park in Ingram. Keeping my eye on the time. This is going to be about a 3-part, just the intro here is going to be about a 3-parter. What I want to do on this series, I'll break away from my story for a second. I want to just want to be able to give y'all some tips on living a minimalistic life. If anybody's interested in it, in a small travel trailer, and I've done it for coming up in June 1st will be 6 years. So I've got a little experience doing it, and the pros and the cons. So where were we? Johnson Creek, yeah. So then I decided, I lived there about 14 months. I went through the polar vortex where we didn't have any water or power out there for like 2 weeks. For a while, limbs were on the road. We couldn't get out of there. We were actually getting our water out of a rain cistern and boiling it up there. We were like trapped. It was outside of Ingram, up in the Texas Hill Country. Yeah, it got a little iffy there for a while, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, so that was when was that? That was I went through COVID happened then. And the polar vortex, I think, was February of 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And I hope we don't go through another one of those anytime soon. But then I came back up here and was up here for a while before I went back out to, my next stop was back out to Fort Davis, to McMillan's RV Park out there. And I think I'm going to go ahead and call this good for part 1, because it gets all this. I moved, guys, between 2007 and 2022. I counted up one time. I moved 17 times. And so I just want that's all part of the minimalistic. What got me going into this, getting rid of stuff with all those moves. I'm going to get into all that, how you get rid of stuff that you're not really using, and it sure helps. And I'm just going to try to, like I say, I'm going to try to give you some tips. And I hated to waste that. I think my first video with the actual talking was much better on it, but it just, I couldn't put it out there, not as lurchy. It seemed like when I would go up a hill, it would do it worse. So I got to figure that out on the driving videos, because that's, as you all know, that's a big part of my channel. So anyway, guys, old Luna's crashing out here, and stay tuned. I'm not going to just run these consecutively. I'll do one every now and then, but I will keep them in order for you. So we're going to pick up on the next one. We'll pick up about 2022 when I came back up here, and then when I moved out to McMillan's, we'll pick up there. I'll make a note of it, because I'll forget that within about 3 minutes from now if I don't write it down where I need to pick the next one up. But there'll be some, whatever I find, a video in between here. So and if you heard some kids screaming outside, the neighbor kids are over. So anyway, that I see the light going. That's from my TV. That light flickering on and off. My TV's, when it changes scenes, it's doing that on my camera. But that ain't no biggie. But yeah, the kids are all right. They scream like that when the neighbors come over. So yep, all part of being a grandpa, I guess. All right, guys. Keep up that positivity, whatever you do. I got a remote for this thing. I got it charged up. I just got to, it says you got to pair it with your phone. So I'll try to pair it or Apple it or Orange it or whatever. Bye-bye.